Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show, episode 154. Did I get that right? I tried checking
That's
before.
it.
Okay,
You
got
got
it.
it.
I tried checking, but all my videos are now following the live stream, so the thumbnail cut away. But yes, we got another special guest today, our friend from north of the border. But how you doing, Billy?
Doing good. Thank you very much. Excited for this episode 154. This is our second guest of 2024. Started off very strong with SK. If you didn't catch that, check that out. And we have Todd McInerney to start this one. Very excited for this. We have a few good lineup ones as well. We got things for Winter Clash lined up. It should be fun ahead with Jump Street for 2024. But if you don't, I'm going to do my quick spiel. If you don't follow us, please follow us on all of our social media accounts. Recently, we did like a survey, something, but we found out that most people who watch us are not subscribed. So it's really helpful if you just go click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, comment, like. We have an iTunes. If you like what you're listening to, you can give us a 5-star rating, review. It's very helpful. We also have a Patreon. You can be a Patreon for as little as $3 a month. When you become a Patreon, not only are you automatically entered to win something from our online store from a random drawing every month, but you get exclusive access to content. We do section reviews with guests. Austin just put out something recently about it's a tutorial about how to do toe spins. How do you call it? Toe stops?
I don't know. Maybe we could discuss this with our guest today because I didn't know what it was called. I called it a toe pivot. Sure.
A toe pivot. Okay, so
Yes.
That's a really cool idea. I like that. There was a cool video that just came out. So that is an option for you. That is my spiel. Everyone who does follow us, thank you for your support and stoked for our guest.
Yeah, definitely. And on that tutorial thing that I put out too, I was like super skeptical that like that type of hybrid wizardy kind of move would get like some criticism, but it got a lot of good feedback and people actually wanted to see more stuff like that. So I'm going to work on getting more strange tutorials out there like that. But I want to give a shout out to our new patron supporters this week. We have Jeffrey Potter, CJ Walsh, Rich W, A Pale Guy, and Brandon. Thank you all for supporting the show. And we have a WTF. Shout out to James Garland for setting this week's WTF in. Also, if you have a good WTF or come across something, send it our way at Jump Street Podcast on Instagram so we can feature it on the show. But this week is brought to us by Patreon supporter Chris Deester, featuring George E. Wilson or Roy Snyder. It says both names on his account, so I don't know which name he goes by. But it's a 360 head kick. Is that accurate, Billy? What do you think?
I think it looks like a backflip head kick to me.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm completely wrong. That is a backflip head kick.
Yeah.
Head kick. I was just saying before how
Like
if
a
you
Liu
watch it,
Kang backflip
it's kind of
head
like
kick.
the LD that Chris Edwards used to do. Do you remember that
LD?
grab? The LD?
No.
No, it was called the long dick, and he called it
wow.
LD for short, so that the commentators on like TV could say LD, but it really meant long dick. So he got away with it. But it looks like an LD, and he kicked himself in the head. If you go on Instagram, check him out, George E. Wilson on Instagram. And I can't play the sound while we're talking, but there's a nice big clack confirmation that he kicks himself in the head. So that's awesome. That's a fun one. I like that one. Shout out to George E. Wilson or Roy Snyder, whatever you go by, because they're two completely different names. We do have, last week on our episode, we had, like Billy said, we had Sean Kelso on, and Create Original sponsored the show, and we did a contest to give away a pair of Create Originals Reflectio Sean Kelso frames. We had a cool little, what do you call it, like a quiz on the website. We had a bunch. We had like 700 entries, which is insane. So we're going to pick a winner later on the show. So if you're one of those 700 people, stay tuned to see if you won a pair of the Create Original frames. But before...
Do you have the scores as well?
I do have the scores. I said we were going to shout out the winners. How many people did you think got a perfect score? 10 out of 10, Billy?
Out of 700?
Out of 700.
Well, 2 people said I got 10 out of 10. So I
At least
heard
2.
At least 2. So
Carry the
I
one.
I would probably say out of 700. And, some people you could cheat. Like, like that, instead of just answer through, you can like look things up and do it like that. I wouldn't assume most people did that. I would 11.
30.
Wow.
Which is, I was impressed too. I was thinking like 5 because they're pretty hard. I couldn't judge it because I helped make the question, so I knew the answers. But yeah, so like 30 of you. I don't want to like burn your ears by running through 30 names. So we'll shout you out on social media. But props to you, 30 people, because it was tough. 30 out of 700 is pretty slim chances right there. So we will go through that later.
Any notable 10 out of 10s? Because I know Pat Ritter said he got 10 out of 10.
He did, but his name didn't show up unless he put an alias name on it. But no, yeah, Pat Ritter did say he got 10 out of 10. But yeah, that's there's no like Alex Broskow or John Julio's in there or anything like that, if that's what you're getting at. But before we get to our guest, we have exciting news for the Jump Street online store. We got new merch in right now. I'm wearing one of the shirts right now. We got Billy, yours are on the way. We got a new t-shirt. We have a crew neck as well. Super cool, super comfy. We have a nice crew neck. We switched it up from a hoodie last year. We did a hoodie last year. We're doing a crew neck this year. Little different swag for 2024. That's how we're going to do. We got the Spaceman right here. This is no relation to the Mars, skating on Mars conversation that we had on the other episode. Somebody made that reference. I found that pretty funny. But check out jumpstreetpodcast.com/store to check out some of the new gear. This long sleeve that I'm wearing right now is super comfy. I'm sorry if you're an audio listener right now. I apologize, and I feel sorry for you that you can't witness this glorious Jump Street merch that we have right now. But check it out, jumpstreetpodcast.com/store. Word.
Anything I like else, it. I think you did a good job with that stuff.
Thank you. This is my space nerdiness coming out. We could talk about this with our guest too, because our guest designs all the gear and stuff for his brand as well. But without further ado, shall we welcome our guest, Billy?
Yeah.
All right. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest, Mr. Todd McInerney.
Hello, Austin Paz and Billy O'Neill.
Hey, man.
Todd. We didn't have the applause for you last time. That's new too.
You stepped it up.
Yes,
I appreciate it. And I want to say right off the bat that I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm a loyal listener. I've probably listened to every episode, and you've enriched my life. And on behalf of all the Jump Street listeners, we owe you a big thanks. You guys are awesome, man.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the love.
Your voices are awesome. Your New York accents, I really appreciate. You've got cool voices.
Thanks. I actually feel like over the years, like being that I've been in California for a while, that it's going away little by little, and I'm losing my identity day by day. But the fact that you still hear it,
I still hear it.
Nice.
Oh yeah, big time.
That's nice. I appreciate that. I'll go home and I'll get teased by my family, like, "You're a California guy now." I'm like, I haven't done anything. My brother introduces me and he's like, "This is my brother from California." I'm like, "I'm not from California."
Damn, that's a burn right there.
Yeah,
damn.
that is a burn.
Is there a hard Kamloops accent? Kamloop? What's someone from Kamloops called? Kamloopinite?
Kamloopsian. There's no cool way. See, I don't think we sound cool at all. Like Joey and I, our voices are very dorky. I don't know why anyone would want to listen to us talk. I hate the sound of my voice, by the way. In comparison to like a New York accent, like you guys sound cool. I sound like a dork.
No, well, you know what I think
and I'm not from New York. Guys, I'm not from New York. I'm from Kamloops.
But I think you sound informed.
And my name isn't Austin Paz or Billy O'Neill. It's Todd McInerney. Like some guys.
You have three names in one, though. You have three names in one. Todd. There's bad. Mac and there's Ernie.
Let's get it right off the bat. It's a bad name.
I don't think it's a bad name. I think it's
listen. No one's ever gonna give me a pro skate. Billy, if you had a Mesmer that said McInerney on the boot, would that sell?
We'd have to be like Todd
excuses
Mac or something like that. You'd have to
change it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because
you wouldn't put McInerney. No one would buy
8 letters
that.
is a lot. 8 letters is a lot. Anything
it's a bad name.
7 is tough. Yeah.
Yo, Todd, you've been going about this all wrong. You just needed an alias. Well, I guess you do have a few aliases, but Todd Mac sounds pretty badass if you ask me. No one fucks with Todd Mac. No one fucks with Todd Mac.
No one does. That's true.
No one. Also, shout out to your studio background, whatever you have going on there. That's awesome.
That's nice, eh? That's fake.
What do you mean it's fake? No, it's not.
It's real.
Well, you know what? It's very exciting to have you back on. This is your second appearance on Jump Street. It's been a while since we had you on the first time, but both
Almost
times,
4 years.
Yeah,
but
it's
you know what?
crazy.
And you're always welcome. But both times you reached out and you said it's my time to be on, and we said okay. I feel like something from one of the earlier episodes triggered you actually for this episode. I'm curious if that was the case. You're like, I want to discuss some of your predictions. What was it, like a triggering thing, or was it something you just wanted to weigh in on?
You know what it was? It was Brain God. I got high on Brain God, and it caused me to reach out to Austin and say, I want to speak publicly. And that's the power of the skate video. A good skate video. It can affect you. It can make you high. It can change your perspective, and it can make you do crazy things. So we owe this episode to Brain God.
Ooh, that's awesome.
You know, I was going to say, and I don't mean to cut you off, Austin, but I'm going to let you finish, but I had to Kanye you real quick.
Yeah.
But I think what you can do, and I know this is one of our topics. We have a few topics for those who are joining us today. Todd has brought forth a few topics that we could randomly discuss, open table talk. And one of them is kind of talking about how social media is not necessarily good for blading. And I'm sure that the Brain God revelation with the skate video is part of that. And it's funny when you think about it, just like, you see the raw stuff on the internet, on Instagram. It could be exciting to watch and it could be very gratifying. And if you did the trick, it's gratifying to put it out and get feedback off the bat and all these things. But you're not, when you see something like Brain God or something that's a well thought out idea, that's all cohesive, it does make you feel a certain way. So do you want to go off on that for a second?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, Austin, can you change it so that I can see you guys at all times?
I don't think
I'm hating the fact that I start talking and then I only see me.
Do you want to just rock this?
I want to look at you guys.
Okay, yeah. we'll rock this just for you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Thank
Mac.
you. I appreciate that.
Just for you, Todd Mac.
Because I want to talk to Austin and Billy. I want to look you guys in the eye. Okay, so listen. When I was 14, Christmas Day. Okay, it's Canada. It was back in the 90s, so there was over a meter of snow. We were snowed in. Under my Christmas tree was Smell the Glove, the Medium Team video. Mm-hmm. And I watched that video. And it got me so high, it got me so pumped that I went onto my roof, because I couldn't go skating. I climbed onto my roof and I did mute grabs off of my roof into the snow.
Wow.
And if I had watched an Instagram clip on Christmas morning, do you think I would climb up onto my roof and go jump off it? I might be like, oh, that's really cool. That's really amazing what Takeshi Yasutoko just did. I wouldn't have climbed onto my roof. The power of a good skate video, I'm sure you guys can relate. The first time you watched My Daily Routine, Hoax 2, Amateur, this shit has the power to change your whole perspective, to get you so pumped. It's an extremely powerful art form. And social media, I would argue that we have less talented editors because of social media and Instagram, because so many people are just putting their clips up. They're not contributing to a full-length video. There's less people that are focused on making a full video. And I think we have a shortage of talented video editors. And you have to shout out the people that contribute in that way, like Andrew Numerosky. I already mentioned Brain God and the effect that it had on me. I was excited that Jeff Howard put out a full-length video revamped. That was really cool. But I do think that social media is bad for skating in a way. It's bad for the general stoke of our culture. The experience of watching your Instagram on your phone is so low level. It's so mediocre. I mean, it's nice to see people skating and stuff, but there's no impact. There's a lot less impact. And I know I sound like an old man, like social media is the death of us, and we should go back to the good old days when we made skate videos. I know that, but like, I think there's a lot of truth to it. And also, like, do you remember back in the day, like, you would get a new VHS or a new DVD, and it had been a few years since you had seen the skaters in that video. And when you popped it in and you watched it, there was this shock value of like, oh my God, look what he's wearing. Look, Jeff Fredericks is wearing sweatpants. This is blowing my mind. You can't wear sweatpants. Or like someone's doing a certain trick that you've never seen before. With social media, you see the slow progression of people. So then when you see them in a full video, it's less shocking. You're like, yeah, I know he's wearing sweatpants now. I know he's doing this trick. I know, like it takes away from that awe that we used to experience.
Yeah, I've noticed that with, I don't know if they specifically do this, but like Alex Brosco, Soshiro, like big high profile names, they're on social media, but they don't really post that often. And I feel like that's part of the reason why they're like, they thought it out where they're filming for a certain part. So they want to wait for that part for their skating to be showcased. And
right.
I never asked them personally about that, but that's always been the way I thought about that too. And I feel like skating is going back to that full skate video more and more. Like you guys have been doing it forever. Billy, you guys do that with Mesmer more now, like a couple times a year, like once or twice a year, whatever it is. The Plastic Pusher videos come out once a year. Everyone pretty much by this point looks forward to like a Plastic Pusher like it was. I know I do, like it's almost like it's a VG or something because it comes out the same time every year. But yeah, I feel like that is part of what built us as skaters and what could build like a new generation. I know it's a little different now, but there is something impactful about sitting on your couch, watching it on a TV compared to like a phone, like
right.
having a drink, maybe having some friends around, because you don't gather with your friends around and watch something on your phone. That's
right.
like just for you. You don't really get hyped by yourself watching skating clips like you do with a crew.
You can definitely show like a clip on your phone and everyone gather around and look at it. But like, I think to Todd's point, it doesn't make
it's not
the
an
same
occasion. It's not an occasion.
You're not getting the same experience. And I think, we're at a place that's really interesting because we're in this like kind of instant gratification era of like how we have access to put this kind of footage out. But it's also like a time where I feel like people are less inclined to make these kind of full length videos because I feel like they're not remembered as long as they once were because of how social media is. So people don't really feel incentivized to put that work in on like a super long project, which is, I think, part of the reason why I think it's more rare. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there's like this pressure to have a presence and to constantly upload. So it's hard. It takes a unique person to have the patience to stack their footage and sit back. And there's a lot of people on Instagram that are incredible skaters, but you only see them on Instagram. So you don't get that heightened level of experience with them. Right. And therefore, I don't think their skating has as much impact as it could. But I do think, I think people are realizing this, and I hope this is on my 2024 wish list, is that more people post less and create full-length videos. I would love to see that.
Wow. Yeah, people need that dopamine hit, I think, about like posting. I know personally certain people who need that. Yeah, there's some like dopamine that you post.
Need it.
Yeah, you because
you get hooked on it. It's an addiction.
It is.
I feel like, yeah, we're all addicted to it.
Social media in general is an addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'd all be better off not having Instagram or not having phone addiction is so common. Everyone has it. And it kind of messes with your ability to appreciate a full length video. Like it fucks with your attention span. So I think less people are willing to sit for a half hour and take in a world uninterrupted. They're probably, if they do, they probably are holding their phone. They're probably looking at clips on Instagram while they're watching the video. I don't think people, it's messing with our ability to appreciate.
I completely agree with that. Like it really doesn't, like the way the attention spans are kind of trained to be nowadays based on social media and like the quick swipe of everything, it's hard to like be as engaged. Like you said, you could like, or just like allow yourself to be immersed like in watching a video, which is even, I remember even like having this conversation with John when we were talking about things like he would like, Belina would be like, oh dude, no, I don't want to, nothing over 30 minutes. Like I don't want to see anything long. And I feel like that's part of like a newer mentality. And you know, this is a conversation dating back to like a year ago, but just I think if it is going to be something that you go after and try to make like an hour long thing, 40 minutes of full length, it's really important your pedigree, like what you're able to do, because as like a filmmaker and an editor, because it can be in this age of like, whether we like it or not, we have like shorter attention spans, whether it's trained to be that way or just like a result of like being on social media or being addicted to your phone, that it has to be something really engaging for it to work in that way.
Yeah, it better be a damn good video if it's an hour.
Right.
Like it better be really good. Like I think the bar for what a full length video has changed. Like I would consider like a 15 to 20 minute could be in my mind a full video.
Mm-hmm. Or just a YouTube video of any kind. Like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
5 minutes is like a full length video nowadays, kind of, because it's too long for the 1 minute Instagram reel limit, you know?
Right. I mean, yeah, even that is, I think, better. Like at least you're not passively consuming it. You're selecting it. You see it, like, even if it's a 5 minute edit on YouTube, you're going to give it a little bit more attention. But there's something about the full video and we saw this with Brain God with levels and like different moods that come through, and the world can evolve in a way and take you to places that you wouldn't otherwise go to with, you know, a short edit, or definitely not an Instagram clip. And when I talk about like getting high off of a video, I've never experienced this with like a short edit. There's what we refer to as the good skate video feeling. And it's hard to describe, but it's this feeling that you get in the midst of a good video. And it usually kicks in at like, I don't know, 7 minutes in, 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, and it evolves and it changes. Yeah. More full videos.
Yeah. Billy always mentions the term replay value. And I feel like that's how you know it's a good video too. If there's replay value, if you've seen it more than once, I would say it has good replay value because of people's attention spans. And that's what the problem with Instagram too is, because you see a clip on your feed and you think, oh, that was sick. You like it. And you scroll by and you never see that clip again. You never see it again. So with a full length video, or even just YouTube in general, it's easy to type in on YouTube Brain God or whatever, even though Brain God's not on YouTube, but like whatever video you want to see, you type it on YouTube, it pops up. You can't necessarily do that on Instagram or other social media platforms. You could type in the person's name, but then you're scrolling through their feed like, oh, was this it? And like by that time you lost interest already, because, you know, we have a 5-second attention span. But so what did you like about Brain God so much that it's like got you this high? Yeah. What, you got something, Billy, first?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to kind of like hold on to this before we track off real quick, but I'm actually wondering if like the even the nature of social media, how like you have so much like access to comment on like these like people who you watch in videos who you may or may not look up to, who are like pros or whatever the case. I felt like when there was more allure back in the day with the skate videos, like maybe partially because it's a skate video and there's like a whole meaning behind it, but like the skaters seem like far away, like, you know, which I mean, I feel like it made them bigger because you know, I couldn't go on like Latimer's like Instagram and be like, fuck you, Latimer, or whatever, just like, or whatever, just like have any access to contact or anything like that. So I don't know. I think that making that kind of boundary, which I think Brain God achieved, and like other videos of the past, like achieve, like it like elevates blading in that way. And maybe that's partially the thing that's, yeah, I don't know. Now I kind of,
you're absolutely right. And it's not just in rollerblading. Like I think celebrity in general, we idolize celebrities a lot less. which is good in a way. It's more realistic.
Yeah.
But with the way that media is today, like, I don't know, there's no Brad Pitts, there's no Michael Jacksons. Like, there are obviously stars, but it's the impact isn't as high. Like, there's less of the like crowds of screaming girls like that used to hang out outside where the Beatles were landing. You don't see that ever, do you? Do you see people screaming for people?
That happened. That happened when Shima showed up at Winter Clash last year. When Shima showed up, there was a crowd of girls screaming for him.
Really?
Amazing. Winter Clash is like the one place where like you would find it, but like even like you think back to like Hoax 2 of them like front flipping off of the RV into like a group of a few hundred people. I don't know. It just seems like to create that kind of thing seems more difficult today, but maybe it's a part of that too.
Well, part of it is that everybody has a platform. You used to have to be really good for like a filmer to be like, oh, I want to film you and I want to stack your footage and edit it and put it in a video. Whereas now everyone is their own videographer, and everyone has a platform. It's the same in like music. You used to need a label to come around and say, wow, you're really good and talented, let's put some money behind you. Whereas everyone can put it out now. But I have to mention how weird it is, like, because I watch this show all the time, and I'm looking at Austin and Billy, and usually I'm listening to like another guest, and to be here like talking to you guys is kind of
We've done this before.
This is our first rodeo together, Todd.
It's true. Yeah, it's my second time, but it's equally as weird.
So we should do this more often then, is what you're saying.
I'm down. You guys are fun to hang out with.
I'm down too.
I like you guys.
You also. Were you drinking? How many drinks do you have there? You switching up? You drinking like a coffee before? You got a water now or vodka? What's going on over there?
Two.
Okay.
I got some water, classic. Okay. I got some coffee.
There we go. Had to stay awake.
Black coffee. I usually don't drink coffee this late, but it's a special occasion. I'll have a couple sips. Usually I cut off my caffeine intake around noon because I'm into sleep. I like sleeping. And I hate not being able to sleep. It's the worst.
Sleeping is nice. I love sleeping.
But trying to sleep is so bad. Like when you're kind of wired on caffeine or you're amped up, and you're trying to pretend like you're not. You're trying to pretend like it's sleepy time, but it's not working. I hate that.
Well, hopefully we go nice and high here, and it goes so high you just crash after, and you get a nice sleep.
Hopefully, yeah.
Nice.
I was laughing at your reaction to sleep, Billy. That you did, because I know you love sleep
sleeping
so much.
Sleeping's the best.
I told, so me and Billy are similar in a lot of ways, but we're also extremely different in a lot of ways. I remember when I told you, Billy, that I don't like sleeping. It blew your mind, like completely blew your mind. And I guess Todd too.
You don't like sleeping?
I respect that you have to sleep, but I always say, okay, calm down.
Who doesn't like sleeping?
I respect sleeping, but I wish that I could.
I respect sleeping.
I wish I was like an iPhone where you could just plug me in at night and I could work while I charge. I hate that I had to fucking sit there for 8 hours in a bed and do nothing. I hate that.
Wow. You're like hyperactive, like workaholic?
I like being busy, I guess, and productive, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a little bit of FOMO too. I don't know. But I've always been like that. I've always thought that. And I remember I told that to Billy, and he blew his mind. And that's what it reminded me of when he had that reaction to like you mentioning sleep. I was like, Billy loves his sleep.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like if you're like sore from skating or like exhausted, a long day of work, like nice hot shower, a meal, you just tonked out, you throw on a flick, man, there's nothing like sleeping. But so good. Respect.
I like to go to bed early.
I respect it.
You must stay up late and avoid the sleeping.
I used to, but I've been trying to go to sleep earlier and wake up earlier. More responsible,
That's good.
I don't have like kids either, so it's like I'm sure it's different on a different schedule like that too.
Yeah, you don't have that forced wake up time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got like the 3 cats now, so Austin,
one of them is
going to turn around. He's going to have like
Dude,
10.
Austin, you need to have kids. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
You still have your girlfriend?
Yeah.
You're together?
Yeah.
Okay. If you to have a child, that child, first off, his last name will be Paz. So that's dope. But also, that child will be one of the only people on the earth that can say, my mommy and daddy can both 360 topsoul.
You think that'll be the first?
I think so. I do think so. NBD.
NBD. That's a new style of NBD right there. That's taking NBD to another level.
My kids' parents can't even say that my daddy can 360 topsoul.
She's in the group chat. She's in the live chat right now. So you hear this, baby?
Hop on that.
Funny.
Be a first
That's
NBD
hilarious.
right there.
Yeah, for real. That kid might, yeah.
Sorry. You were going to say something clever and witty.
No, Billy, I'm sorry.
I'm
Go
sorry.
on.
I was going to say we have a few topics to get to, and like 6, right? So we should. I actually want to get to the anti one because I'm curious your take, because I felt like something that was like a triggering thing, or like at least something that sparked an idea for wanting to have a conversation. So what is your take on my prediction? For those who haven't watched the episode, I made a prediction for what would happen in 2024 and beyond, and that we'd see, there was a big switch to a lot of people going flat. Like, so many people just went to flat in one time. It was a big transition, and my prediction was that some people are going to come back for that. I've already seen some people come back. I've transitioned back, not full time, but like now, like 75% of the time I'm skating anti. What's your take on that?
I think you're absolutely correct. Personally, I'm excited to skate anti-rocker this year. And just thinking about anti-rocker in general, I think it's the ideal setup for aggressive traditional skating. Grinds feel incredible in anti-rocker. Your skates are light. I think a lot of people unnecessarily skate flat because it might be trendy. It might be cool when they could probably skate better in anti. And if you think about a lot of your favorite sections, a lot of my favorite sections are people in anti-rocker. And I also think, so this leads me to something else I wanted to talk about. I think 2024 was a really boring year for rollerblading. 2023, sorry. And I'll tell you, I think we were at the tail end of an era in 2023. Whether you want to call it like the Swivelly Bop era, the Garnish era, the Wizardy era. I think we were at the tail end, and we were a little bit, exhausted and ready for something new. And I'm not saying that style of skating will go away. Definitely, people are always going to add Garnish. They're always going to Swivelly Bop, that type of deal. But I think we're entering a new era. And I'm not exactly sure what this era is, but the way I'm thinking about it, and what I wish for and hope for, and what I saw in Brain God, even though it was filmed throughout the last few years, it felt forward thinking to me in a sense, is that we're entering a trendless era. Trendless in terms of the clothing that people wear. I feel like we're going to see a wide variety of fashion choices, a wide variety of fits. Not everyone's going to be baggy. There's going to be slim and baggy and everything in between. And I think for skating styles, I think we're entering a trendless era where we've built so many different aspects of our sport that I don't think there's going to be like a hot thing, like a hot new thing. I think it's going to be everything. And I think everyone is going to be really free to just be themselves. Whether they want to add the Garnish, whether they don't, I think we're going to be liberated from that kind of trend that we've been in the midst of for the last few years. At least that's my thinking. I think the whole world is like, there's going to be a lot of chaos in 2024. You know, Austin mentioned AI. We've got possibility of World War III. We've got a tumultuous presidential election happening in the United States. And also there's elections happening all over the world. There's like 50 countries having elections in 2024. I think it's going to be a year of chaos. So buckle up. But for rollerblading, I think we're going to have a year of chaos as well. And I'm excited for it. I want to see, like Brain God, like the fashion, for instance, in Brain God. It didn't feel like there was one cool way to dress. It was like everyone was so different. And some videos you watch and there's kind of a clear fashion trend with a video. It was refreshing to see Brain God. There were so many different ways of dressing and so many different ways of skating. Like there were even skaters that you could tell they were a little bit novice. They were in like their infancy of skating. And there was something really refreshing about that there was like really, really progressive skating alongside, cool, interesting, fun skating, but clearly less proficient, less developed. There were so many different styles.
Yeah,
that was his mic drop, the coffee grab. I thought there was more to that one, hence the awkward pause.
There might be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Billy, were you going to say something? I don't know if...
No, you go ahead. I was going to be good.
I was going to say something, but it's going to kind of drift off topic, so I'm going to try to save it for now. But
okay, so like I just want to add to it then,
okay, so go.
So we can stick on topic. But I think that's a very observant, like a very like good, astute observation, because I was kind of getting that feeling too, that like, because even like everyone was like kind of, when you learn something new on blades or you see something new, like everyone has to learn it. It's like a new whatever, like in anything, if you see something right. like I guess whatever,
there's that new hot move
that everyone has to learn.
And you're like, oh my god, that's so sick.
It could be like a dance move. You know what I mean? Like if there's some new dance move or like some new like when like I don't know. I don't even want to talk about like, but when Bobby Schmurda,
it's like Colin Kelso's like Christ Macchios,
right? Or like
he made it look so good. Everyone had to try that.
And the swivels were a big thing too. And like even like when I remember Sean Kelso was doing a grind and like slide this way and then come back, and there were all these. So there was like a lot of incentive and like a lot of ideas like that were relating to skating flat, that people were like, okay, like, because I remember even just like trying the swivel stuff at the skate park, and it would like turn more into cess slide a lot of the time. And John was like, nah, man, you got to skate flat, do that. I was like, okay, it's cool. You skate flat and you realize, yeah, you get that. But there's also like other things that like, I think flat skaters a lot of the time, like hardcore, like flat is anything else is wrong other than flat skating mentality, like often think that, you could do anything on flat that you can do on anti. And I don't really think that's right. And like you said, there's like the correct, it feels better. It's like, it could be like the most efficient setup that you could have in relation to aggressive rollerblading. Something I was talking to Austin about before the show, kind of, it's related to the topic, but kind of off the point I'm making now. But I don't think there's anyone in Japan who skates flat. Like everyone who I see in Japan, they all skate like the traditional anti-rocker setup. And you see like how efficient they are on, a lot of those guys are on like, P-rails, grind boxes. It feels like that's like the point of focus in their skating. It's like high grind, technicalities like that.
Yeah, I think anti works better for smaller humans. So that would make sense. Like, how much do you guys weigh? Billy, how much do you weigh?
170 something.
Okay. Austin?
I'm like 148 pounds.
148. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you do pounds.
Yeah, pounds.
I don't know what that is
Well, so I'm not a lot bigger than Billy. I'm 180, but I am bigger. I think for larger humans, they probably want flat rocker because there's a lot more pressure on the front and back. Um, but I think it's a silly argument to be like, you should skate this way or that way. You should skate whatever feels best for you. And that's what like I think in the trendless era, people will just really focus on what makes me happiest when I'm skating, what works best for me. And I'm still gonna probably drift around to different setups, but I encourage everyone to not look down towards your anti-rocker brothers. We're skaters too, okay? And just because we choose to ride 4 wheels instead of 8, it doesn't make us lesser than you. Okay, let's be accepting in our community. Okay, diversity is okay.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna kind of go off on that. Like, if you play it out, if you think about it, a trendless era would suggest a less judgmental group, right? I feel like that's like a prerequisite of having a trendless era, because what creates trends is kind of setting the standards of whether it be dress, fashion, or efficiency, proficiency on said thing, rollerblades in this case. But if we're entering a trendless era, then it would be, a prerequisite, like I said, would be like a more accepting group where everyone's just like,
Definitely.
oh, okay, cool. So you see that on the horizon as well.
Yeah. And understanding that everybody's body works differently, people's feet are shaped differently. Things are going to feel different for everybody, So it's stupid to say you should skate a certain size wheel, like, find what works best for you.
Todd, I recall on our last episode that we had with you, you were leaving anti-rocker because you said it hurt your knees. Is
Right.
that not the case anymore? Have you worked on that?
Austin.
Todd.
I'm gonna tell you, the guy that was on your show 4 years ago, I could beat the fuck out of that guy. I'm way better than that guy. My knees are incredible now. Knock on wood.
Enlighten. So
Talking really shit.
how have you done this in your old age?
I think, okay, so knees over toes. So Google knees over toes. Like, I've been doing this pretty religiously for the last 2 or 3 years, and it has changed my knee game. ATG split squats, Poliquin step ups, reverse Nordic curls. Okay, like I can do things now so I started doing these reverse Nordic curls. Okay, it's when you're on your knees, butt to heels. Okay, I would do it, and I would put my ottoman behind me, like a short ottoman, and I could lean back literally like 10 degrees. That's where I started, and I can put my back to the floor now in that position. So my mobility has drastically changed. So I think my knees are prepared to skate anti-rocker.
That's a plus.
That's cool.
I feel like, because it's the opposite for me. When I go to like a wizard setup, my knees hurt because I'm not used to those movements. Like it takes training, I guess, like a few sessions to get to it, which is funny because a lot of people say that it's like the quote old thing to do, like to transition to wizard from aggressive because it's better on your knees. But I felt like the opposite almost. But I guess it's just whatever.
Well, you got bitch ass knees.
I probably do have bitch ass knees. I'm not here doing knees over toes like you are. I can't do a reverse Nordic curl though. I'm looking it up right now, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was a name for that.
Now I'm all self-conscious. Is that what it's called? Let me see. Reverse.
It's
Nordic.
Like when you're leaning all the way back and you have like your legs.
Yeah, exactly. I got it right.
That just blows people's minds. That when you see someone do that, because I guess most people can't do that. I never knew that.
Couldn't do it. But if I can slowly increase my range of motion, like I've had surgery on my knees, like on my knee. if I can do that, I think anyone can do that, because you can start from anywhere. Just start from where you are able to do it. Even if you can't move back, like there's a way to do it where you just kind of sit your butt up a little bit and back down. Same with the ATG split squat, same with the Poliquin, like all the knees over toes stuff is scalable, meaning like you could have your mom do these exercises. You can start from anywhere and slowly increase your range of motion and how much you can weight bear. So it's really good for people who have crappy knees. Like if you're dedicated, you can improve your knee and leg strength.
How many days a week are you doing this?
Well, I work out every single day, but the knees over toes stuff, maybe a couple days a week, maybe twice a week.
Every single day?
Every day, yeah.
You don't take a day?
No.
You don't see this
guy? Why
guy?
would I take a day?
What's your slowest day during the week look like?
I don't have a slow day.
So what's your average day look like at the gym?
I'm not intense, and I don't even go to the gym. I work out at home, and I only work out for like 20 minutes usually. When I do the knees over toes stuff, it takes me a little bit longer, maybe 40 minutes. But yeah, I only work out for like 20 minutes a day, like nice. Really intense.
That's what doctors recommend.
Like
20 minutes of workout a day.
Like
20 minutes of
exercise.
Hell. Yeah. HIIT, kettlebells, core work, leg work. Yeah.
What kind of cardio are you doing in that?
HIIT.
Nice.
Yeah, like intense cardio. I don't run. I don't want to run.
Running sucks, yeah.
Yeah, I would rather it be really vigorous, really intense. Like I don't want to go, like I go run maybe a couple of times a year, and I'm like, this is bullshit. I could just do this for hours. Like I'm barely even. And I mean, if I had time on my hands, sure, I'll go run for like, forever. But I am very busy, so I like to condense my workout into a short period of time, get it in, and then carry on with my life.
We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to sit and chat with us. Hopefully we're not interrupting any workout schedules of yours. A friend of mine last week, he's been doing knees over toes as well. And he said how it changed his knee game also because he has knee problems too. And it was funny because like a day or two afterwards, you messaged me about how knees over toes changed the game for you. So I like how that flowed into the transition back into anti-rocker skating and that you're ready for that in 2024. And you said that part of your 2024 wish list was to see less social media, I guess, skating or whatever. What else is on your 2024 wish list?
I want to see more runs in contests. I want to see more run formats. Did you guys see the Takeshi Yasutoko clip that he just posted on Instagram?
I see every.
Of course, I saw because I'm addicted to Instagram. But
was it the one where he grabs the pole? Like he grabs the pole to spin?
He put one up like an hour ago, and it was just one line.
I didn't see that.
At a skate park.
That gray skate
park? It was
park?
basically, it was
that
like a contest run.
Yeah.
And also, I'll cite Dominic Bruce at Blading Cup, even though I don't know what the format was. I don't know if it was runs, but that was like the most exciting footage that I saw from that event was Dominic Bruce doing lines around the park. I just think that rollerblading is so exciting in a run format. And it's also like more digestible for people to watch. Like they get to just, I don't know, there's one person, like they understand that, like, figure skating, for instance, like the person goes, they have whatever time limit, a minute and a half, all eyes on them. And it's more clear to say like, okay, that guy's the winner. He consistently did all of these moves. He didn't stumble. His level of difficulty was really high. I think I'm just saying that I love watching like old ASA footage. There's just something watching a person do lines as opposed to like stumbling around, trying to do like a really hard trick, falling, stumbling back, trying to do it again. It's just it's not as dope to me. I want to see more lines. I want to see I want to have announcers like, all right, up next we got Alex Broskow. Alex dropping in 5, 4, 3, 2, and there's music playing, and it's Alex Broskow for the next minute and a half. What can you do on the course? How much flow do you have? Like, there's so much beauty. Like when someone puts together a solid line, it's so sick. Like Aaron Feinberg winning the X Games when he was 16, and everyone knew that he had won because his run was so good. And then at the end, Arlo picks him up.
Yeah,
I want to see that more.
Dominic Bruce's Blading Cup performance at whatever 2022, whatever like that, was incredible. You are right. And I think part of what makes the line so good is that it got better. It got progressively better throughout the run. Like he started out with like a sick trick, like, oh shit, everyone's going crazy. And then like another one and another one, and it got better. And you thought like he couldn't do anything better. And he just kept going. And that's what kept the amplitude up so much at Blading Cup. And that is part of what I think the surprise. It's like a surprise element almost in a way, because you could do a line where it's just like a bunch of chill tricks, like okay, soul this, frontside that, 360 that. But like Dominic was on fire that day, and I think that's what makes a good skater into a great skater, is like that you can really get the crowd going on all those tricks, just one after another, better every time. It's kind of like a Street Fighter, like with combos, it just like adds up to all the points. That's what Dominic Bruce was doing at that. It was awesome.
And there's so much opportunity for showmanship, because everybody stops and everybody looks at the one person. It's so simple. It's not as chaotic as these normal contests that we have where there's like heats and there's like 12 different people skating and you miss things and you don't know where to look. Like two people do things at the same time. And it's like, oh, I missed this guy because I was looking at this guy. There's a level of focus involved. And like, I feel like when that person lays down that flawless line, it's going to be so memorable for everyone watching.
So this is like mainly, obviously you can do this on the street too. Lines are great. And I think it like shows a bit of someone's personality and more digestible, like you're talking about, than just like individual. What the fuck is that?
My cat keeps my cat keeps
control
stepping
your
on the keyboard and hitting the horn.
I kept thinking I was just dropping like hammers over here. Like, oh, he's dropping the sound effect for me.
My cat thinks you're dropping hammers right now. I don't even know how he does that. I didn't even know there was a shortcut.
The cat agrees. We need more runs.
Okay, yes.
But so we would need more like contests that can accommodate that, right? Like,
right.
So I guess,
and yeah, obviously you need like a certain course that works for that format. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For street contests, obviously, it might not work. I'm talking specifically like park comps.
I think that would be cool. It'd be cool to see like I think at Winter Clash they'll just like unleash like 4 or 5 people. That would be interesting to just put one person out at a time. But I know for the skater that could be like nerve-wracking,
I know it's nerve-wracking, but deal with it.
So how long of a run are you thinking?
I'm nervous. Everyone's looking at me. Shut up.
If you're skating at contests, you're in the spotlight regardless, like of what it is, if you're there for one trick or whatever. But what do you think is a good length for a contest run? Because if you look back at like the first NIST, it was like 60 seconds plus, like 90 seconds. That is an insane amount of time to be skating.
That is
for.
Insane. Yeah.
What do you think is like an appropriate time?
I'm the wrong person to talk to because I really don't have a lot of I haven't even been to a contest in like years. So like, yeah, I'm the wrong person to talk to, but it could be shorter, it could be 45 seconds, a minute. I'm not sure.
A minute's pretty long.
It is pretty long. Yeah. You better be training.
I was about to say,
you better be in camp.
Not for Todd when he's doing his hit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta be ready to go. You gotta be ready for battle.
That's it, man.
Yeah,
wow.
I think a lot of contests, like Winter Clash, is kind of like that. But like when they introduce you, you get like either one trick or you just keep going. I think that's what Blading Cup was too. Like you just keep going until you stop, kind of thing. Which is I think a fair concept, because if you fall, no one wants to watch you skate after that. Just sit down, let someone else go. Like it just run until you go. If you could go for a minute, kill it for a minute. If you could only do 15, 20 seconds, whatever, that's cool too.
And that is cool. Yeah, that was a cool format. I liked that.
Yeah, it's more reasonable, I think.
The heats and you could do a line if you were so inclined. But I do feel like if if rollerblading was ever in the Olympics, that's what the format would have to be, is runs. Like if you think about it for mass consumption, like if rollerblading's ever like watched, like if people watch it, like they watch UFC or they watch figure skating or what's another sport where they do runs? I don't know. I don't even know if Street League is run based, but it just seems like the most consumable format.
Yeah, TV direction would be a little rough too. If like you're on the Olympics and there's like 10 people going and like NBC is like, what do I do with the camera?
No, exactly. You want to film the one guy. All right, it's this guy for the next minute. That's who you're filming. Do your shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And I think like there's been this movement away from that because people get nervous and because people don't have the cardio to do it for a minute, and it's excuses.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would love to see that. I think there's something good about that, like old school competition format as well, where it's like the pressure and all that stuff. I feel like that goes kind of with it, like having the nervousness be there.
Exactly, and some people crumble under the pressure, and some guys get elevated by the pressure. So it's just how do you deal with that? And it's who's best at that moment.
Montre kills it in those moments. Montre, Frankie, some of these guys live for those moments. Aragon, all those guys used to love those moments.
Like the ASA dudes, like anyone who excelled in that era could perform when it was their turn.
Yeah.
And it's something that we would develop, right? Like the more that people do it, the better you're going to get at it. If that's kind of more common of a format, we'll get better at performing under those conditions.
Well, can I give a little pushback? I'm curious what you think here.
Give me a lot of pushback. Give me as much pushback as you want.
Well, no, because
calm down. It's an election year, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Things are gonna get carried. Well, that's why you got to prepare with that 20 minutes ahead of day. You know what I mean? Anything can happen this year. Exactly. You got to prepare. But
buckle up.
Exactly. But I think a lot of people, like back in the day when they would criticize like that kind of competition format where it was like 60-second runs, I think the integrity of the trick would suffer a lot of the time because you're just trying to like pump out tricks. So you look at like an old school, like even though I really enjoy watching like the old X Games and old ASA runs when they're just like 60-second runs, like, oh, there were 12 tricks this guy did. Let me try to pack in 15. Like, you know what I mean? So you'll do like whatever running 360 in the midst of it all.
Right.
So do you think that sometimes like based on like those kind of formats that maybe the quality of the tricks could suffer?
There's an argument there that, and that is an argument that I hear, is that people say there isn't an opportunity for the skaters to showcase their full potential with a run. I just think that like people are so focused on those perfect, flawless hammer moments, as opposed to like, I want to see a person skate around and I want to see the whole thing. And even if the tricks aren't as perfect, even if they're not as technical as something that might take you multiple tries, it's something you can do consistently. I still see more excitement and beauty in that.
Yeah, because I do think it brings like that's like you said, it calls for a different type of mentality and focus, and seeing who could rise to the occasion in those moments, and like really being like the most demanded out of you, which is going to bring the best out of you essentially in those situations. And
it's not so much like what trick can you do if I give you 10 tries, it's what trick can you do consistently and when the pressure's on, and paired with other tricks. I don't know, just there's something that's lost in the like best trick format.
Definitely.
I will say that if
that's my kind of format, though, I'm going to be honest. Like that's like when I was doing my thing back in the day in pro, I really enjoyed the best trick format because it's like that was more. It spoke to me more as a street skater. When we're just trying to like do the best tricks you can do.
Right. It's definitely more like a natural session. That's like how a session would happen.
Yeah, and I think it's like closer to like the battle format that we used to do in New York City, like play skate or things like that. Like try to do like the hardest trick to just like get somebody out of there. But I think there's I can see what you're saying, that something is missing there, like that level of focus that is required to get like a 60-second line down. It's not, the focus definitely is needed for the best trick, but it's just in a different way and a different kind of almost like a different kind of hunger for it, because you got to be like really on for that 60-second run,
Right. And even like when people do bad runs, like when their runs suck, it's still like really entertaining. It's like it's fun to watch someone just like get all nervous and feel embarrassed and miss a soul grind and like damn it, and like it's something like so entertaining about that. Like if you think of it as a show, it's like the best way to watch a show is like one at a time. Let's see what you got, and if you suck, you can like heckle and throw tomatoes, whatever. Like it's
that would be interesting.
Watching humans
give all the spectators at Bitter Cold, give them tomatoes. You can throw them at people who miss their tricks.
Watching humans be vulnerable is super entertaining. You know what I mean? Especially like humans who you have on platforms. That vulnerability is, I think every human can appreciate that to some degree.
And it's like, it's not just about like the winner or like the person that's the best. Like it's about the whole experience. So
yeah, I remember also like back in the day, like it must have been like 97, 98, 99 around there. But when I was like, or it could have been even 2000, but I just remember being like, oh my God, Dustin Latimer is the best. He's the best. And that's it. He's the best. And then I remember like looking at an ASA and being like, oh, I wonder what place he got. And then like he got like 8th place or 9th place or something like, and I was like, because I was still like a young kid, like not able to connect those ideas, because I was like, oh, if you're the best, you win, right? Like, but and then like people who were like back in the, and I was like, he could beat everyone, but wait, he 9th place, and then like you didn't see those Latimer lines on like the ASA, or you'd see like one-off tricks here and there, but it just speaks to like,
but then when you did, like once in a while, you're right, like
when you did,
you'd see it on TV, be like, Matt Salerno and like Jaron Grob. No disrespect to Jaron Grob, he's amazing, you wouldn't see like the core street skaters that you loved as a kid. But once in a while, you would see like, oh, up next is like Dustin Latimer, or like, oh my God, like your mind would be like, Dustin Latimer's on TV right now, and you got to watch his whole line. And again, I'm probably just an old man. We need to do runs.
I was gonna say if runs came back, Takeshi would take everything. Yeah, because like the way he skate, like you said, his Instagram thing. Like, why wasn't he skating parks like that back in the day? He was only on vert, but he like skates that good on vert on regular park too. He skates street too, like you see it now because of Instagram, whatever. And he
would dominate. It's true.
He destroys that park. He did a run a few years ago at Feast, and it was one of the first times I saw him skate outside of vert. It was one of the best runs I've ever seen, ever, in like all time. And he got like 3rd somehow. I'm like, how the hell is that possible? I don't remember who won, but I was like, he's the best ever, and he would just dominate any kind of line format park.
Well, you know what, and this is going to bring it back. If blading is going to go more in the run format, which I hope it does. I would love to see that.
I don't believe you. I don't think you hope it does.
I would actually love to see that. I'm a fan of blading, man. I would enjoy that. But I think, like, to your point, Austin, about like the best run you've ever seen, he got 3rd place. Dude, sometimes the judging in blading is freaking atrocious. It's like the worst thing that I've ever seen. It's literally like sometimes like you'll look over the shoulder and see like the way they're judging competitions, and you're like, what? Like it's like he landed a trick check mark. Oh, he did a good trick check plus.
Yeah.
Oh, he almost landed a trick like check minus, and then like one guy
strikes.
has like. One guy has like 12 checks because he did like 18 soul grinds or whatever. And then it's just like the format is, I don't know, some of the judging is atrocious.
But that's part of what you're talking about. Yes, like that style of judging, I guess, doesn't make any sense. But it is kind of hard to judge skating because there's no actual scale of like difficulty of tricks, whatever. And then when you take into account style, like the flow of tricks, like that comes down to people's opinions more than actual like technicality and skill level. So it's such a hard sport that's why every big contest almost ends in controversy, because there's always people who are going to be like on one side over the other. You know, it never makes any sense. So I think you're going to get that no matter what. And it always confused me how in like the X Games in ASA or whatever, you'd be like, oh, Olo Eisenberg just got a 92.45. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like I never understood that in any way. Someone needs to figure that out, and there's like a standard grading system on a contest, you know?
We need to start a university that gives people degrees in inline skating competition judging. So you would become certified in judging. But like usually a judge, how often does a judge a rollerblading contest? Like once a year, twice a year, once in their whole life? Like it's not something like that people put on their resume. Like I'm an inline skate competition judge. Like these are just dudes. They're like, oh, I can judge, you know, and they're like, what's the format? I don't know. Everyone's skating and doing tricks, and then you pick like the best guy. Oh, okay. Like it's like extremely informal. I think with a run format, at least there's more criteria. Like you can say consistency, amplitude, style. It seems and there'll still be problems for sure. But I wanted to add one thing that like Austin was talking about, like feasts and stuff. I think there's a correlation between like run format and big skate parks. But I think a run format could work beautifully in smaller parks, like
Agreed.
Smaller objects like the ones, the Blading Cup style parks. And like it would be a different challenge, and like Eito Yasutoku might not dominate on that scale. Like he's got his massive scale that he would dominate. Maybe he would. I would like to see.
No,
let's see what he got. Did I say Eito? I meant Takeshi. Yeah, his brother was Eito, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think you bring up a good point there, because like that's something that like, you know, Dominic was able to do at the Blading Cup that was notable, that he had like a course that, you know, it's hard to make a line on, and he was like making it happen. And you see him do that a lot of like street spots. He just like makes the most out of street spots and always tries to find a line. He doesn't do like one hit tricks like a lot of the time. He's just like always trying to, because, you know, I think that's something in skating we kind of overlook, and Dominic Sagone has mentioned, and we've talked about on the show before, but like the skating aspect itself, and shows the personality, getting from trick to trick, how you do that, how you carry yourself, like kind of shows a lot about your personality, you know? So I think that would be cool to have it in that way, if it was like ideally to have like the really good courses for it, like with big transitions, and like the not so good courses, and see like what you can create with it.
Yeah, exactly. Different courses are gonna, like different people are gonna excel on different styles of courses. Like on a smaller course, Dominic Bruce might beat Takeshi Yasutoku, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's interesting. Yeah,
you'll still have all the dynamics will still be there from event to event. You did have a point about, we talked about what you had to say about Billy's anti-rocker prediction. You also had something you wanted to say about my AI prediction, or just AI in general, possibly, because that was something that I talked about on like one of our earlier podcasts about implementing AI into skating. What thoughts do you have on that? And
your prediction was that it'll become more prevalent, that people will use AI to, sorry, I'm paraphrasing you. Maybe you could just repeat the prediction that you had.
I think there was a couple of them, but one of them was AI with video editing skate sections, because that's kind of already a thing. And another one was like having an app that learns your style of skating and can predict tricks for you to try based on what you can do, what tricks link together and stuff like that. That was more or less what I said.
Yes. And again, I agree 100% with that prediction. But I have hesitancy. And I want to encourage everyone to be careful with this technology because it is coming. It's coming quickly, and it's going to be really effective. And it's going to be really tempting to rely on it. But it might not be a good thing to use. I think we need more creativity in rollerblading and not less. And I think if we all start relying on a AI program to do our editing and to create our media, although it might be effective for getting more likes and getting more views, you don't want to let your creative muscles shrink. You want to do the opposite. You want to work out your creative muscles, and you want to try to figure out what your vision is in terms of the content that you create. So I would just encourage everyone to exercise caution. And, I'm not taking a hard stance on it. I'm not saying don't use it, because what do I know? It might be incredible. The media, the videos that AI create might be way better than anything a human could make, and way more inspiring, and get people way more high on videos. But I am doubtful. I think it'll be really good at creating like algorithm specific content that like homogenizes all of our visions and like self-sanitizes us. It takes out the cussing and it takes out any awkwardness or humanness. We'll see. I just want to tell everyone to be careful. That's my message.
You make a lot of really good points, because skating is pretty much all about creativity. And
right.
that's pretty much what AI is taking away in not just skating, but like every aspect of life. It's definitely a helpful, useful tool in a lot of ways. But skating
and I'm not anti AI. Like, use it if it makes your life easier, more productive. Go for it. But just like always keep in the back of your head, like, what skills am I sacrificing right now, or what skills aren't I exercising? Because there's I don't know, there's people who develop a craft over many years that maybe if they had AI at their fingertips, maybe they wouldn't have created that skill, whether it's music or graphic design or skating or any of these things that used to be done like by hand. We might, Picasso might not have drawn his pictures if he just could generate it with Dolly. Mm-hmm. It's a double-edged sword. It's a powerful tool. Use it wisely.
I feel like
correct.
Come correct, straight up. I feel like the term
like Billy in Truth 2.
I feel like the term AI skater is going to be a thing in the future. Be like, yo, do you see this kid killing it? Be like, yeah, but he's an AI skater. He doesn't think of those switch ups. Like, someone's doing that for him, Like,
I told him.
That's going to be a phrase in like 5 years or so. Watch.
I wonder if there'll ever be like a robot that's really good at skating.
Hell yeah, there's going to be robot skaters killing it.
Do you think?
There's going to be robot skaters that can pump perfectly in a transition to get maximum boost out. That's going to make Takeshi like obsolete. That's going to happen.
It'd be incredible. It'd be incredible if we had like, imagine if you had a computer program, like you put on like sensors and stuff, and you go into like a matrix, and you have an avatar that's a robot that's doing the moves for you, like in the street. You're safe. but the
safe.
robot is doing it, and you kind of feel the stuff.
Yeah,
and you have to do the movements. But if you eat shit, then like, oh, it's the
You're
robot
fine.
that's messed up.
Yeah.
You're fine. So you could like practice new moves in the Matrix safely.
That'd be a interesting way to play a video game, like how they had like aggressive inline, whatever, but like you were wearing the suit with the balls, and like that's how you skated. Like you just did the moves on like your foot, but it was doing it in the video game because it knows your movements. That'd be a cool way to implement that way.
Right. But I think like you would develop skills, but then you might lose the ability to like go out in public and try stuff.
Yeah.
So there's like a thing that you would lose where like, you know, you could film the robot doing the thing, but would that be as exciting? I mean, it's still the human in the program that's doing the moves, but is it as cool to see like his robot?
No.
But he's still doing it, Billy.
No,
he's
but
still doing it.
No, but the movements aren't.
You're just
as
an old
cool
man, Billy. You don't know the kids.
That's true.
The kids, man.
That's true. But I feel like the risk is part of the thing that makes it exciting, right?
Exactly.
The threat of injury. Yeah.
And seeing the person and the emotion behind their face, and the element of risk, the humanity, like it's a human being that's doing this crazy thing.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as cool if it was a robot, but
so
maybe we're just old and the kids will think it's just as cool.
So let me ask you this
you're an
then.
old man. Okay.
It's
there'd be no need to train every day.
There'll probably be like two separate kinds of skaters. There'll be like AI skaters, like AI skating, and then like regular skaters, because they have already kind of like there's motorsport, like actual motor racing, but there's actual series of people sim racing, which is pretty much an AI version of driving a car, but you're safe. You're not driving a car. You're not like crashing. You're not spending money on a vehicle. So, there's like a whole thing, like an actual series on it. So I feel like that could be something in the future where like people are like not really skaters, but that's what they kind of do, like video game AI style skating. But they'll put real skates on and be like, what the fuck do I do with these things, you know?
Right.
Can make no sense.
Wow. And it could be realistic that, I mean, why would you risk your physical body when you can just do it with an avatar safely? And you think, oh, it sounds silly, that would never happen, but you're like, e-gaming is huge. It's way bigger than rollerblading.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I totally think it can happen, but just like I feel like it's like all the same with like, you know, like the 80s whenever synth came out with like the drum machines, and they were like, all right, that's it, drummers are dead, that's not going to exist anymore. There's always going to be some people adhering to like the original form of the craft, despite whatever technological advancements get made and move forward. I feel like there's always going to be like, it would be considered like, maybe if it did go that far, which I could see completely happening with getting an avatar or something like that, it would be like punk rock to go out and do it yourself or something like that. Or at least the ethos would be something similar.
Yeah. I think we'll always crave that. Well, in terms of our media, I just encourage everyone to like use their own vision as opposed to letting AI, because I think what we were originally talking about was like putting all of your footage, for instance, into a program and say, make me a video with this. You might add some variables, like I want it to be like moody, like a Sean Collin video. I want it to be a bit like dark and like grungy. You would like put in all these variables and then it would spit it out, and it might be really good.
Damn. I didn't think about it that way. Imagine putting all your footage in and being like edited like a Quentin Tarantino movie or something, and it's like a skate edit, but like that style. Like I don't even know what the hell would pop out of that, but that's an interesting thing to think about. Yeah, who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows? Mushroom blading, MB11 might be done by computers and robots.
AI.
And Todd and Joey are just gonna be kicking back, relaxing.
That's a dark thought. It's honestly a dark thought. Like I don't like that. I don't like that thought. You know, it's
gonna be missing. It's unsettling.
It is.
Yeah. And like you said, like you know, I feel like a lot of the time, especially if the AI is connected to the social media, there's like an incentive to have things be uniform. Like even if you're like scrolling through Instagram now, and they'll be like, you'll see like whatever like puppy videos or whatever things, but you'd be like, oh, it's like this month or 2 months, it's like a lot of the same song. It's like that same song, like all the things are in that song, and then like the same thing will change in like another month. And I'm just wondering if with that it'll kind of mold to the style of whatever's happening, or people would feel inclined to go with the style of whatever's happening based on views or whatever. Is this making sense? I feel like I'm getting lost in my own thought.
You just can't focus on the number of views that you get or the number of likes. You just have to make shit that you think is awesome. That's it. Like once you start doing things, thinking about like, I want to get lots of views on this thing, or I want to get lots of likes, then your motivation is skewed. You're not being you. You need to just make the shit that you really like. What would you like to see in a skate video? Make that instead of like what's going to please the algorithm? What's going to get me eyeballs, and I need to like play the system. And then the AI will just know how to play the system really good. And the algorithm that takes that piece of media in will probably prefer the shit that AI made. So like human made stuff will not be shown as much.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you fire up your device that you're addicted to, it'll all be like shit that AI made, because AI is like, oh, my homie made this, not these weak ass humans.
I don't like that.
Do you think we're going in the direction of like the movie The Matrix?
Yeah. Yep, for sure. I don't know how quickly that's happening, but if you extrapolate over like a few hundred years, yeah, we're morphing into something else for sure. I don't know if humans will be around.
So that being said, Todd, what are your thoughts about skating on Mars?
I heard you talking about this too, and like, like I think Earthlings won't be able to do it very well because we're so used to skating on Earth. We're so used to the gravitational rules of Earth, and Mars is a lot smaller, right, than Earth. Mm-hmm. So like, you might get a power boost because you'd be able to jump like way higher because gravity is less, because gravity depends on the size of the planet. Right. So Mars is smaller. So you'd be able to jump maybe like 15, 20 feet, which might sound cool, but you won't know how to control it. You would need to be born on Mars from day one and learn how to skate Mars. There'll be Mars skaters and Earth skaters.
Martians.
But maybe you can get used to it, like
so sick. They'll be able to jump like 500-foot gaps.
But they wouldn't be able to rip on Earth. You know, they'd have trouble ripping on Earth. Yeah.
It would be like trying to skate with like a weighted vest for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come do that shit on Earth. Fucking Mars. That's skaters.
That's going to be
don't you think it would be adjustable? Like kind of like switching from like anti to flat, like might be tough for the first few sessions, but then like after a couple, you get the hang of it.
No, it would be like on another level. Like it would be so drastic. Like your body would need to evolve. Like all your muscles would need to change. Your structure would need to evolve. I don't think it would work.
P-rails would be like head height.
Maybe there'll be like a chosen one who, like, once they figure out a quick way to transport like between Mars and Earth, like you could be born on Earth, like skate for like a couple months, go back to Mars, skate for a couple months, go back and forth. Like there'll be that first person who can do it on both. Like, wow, he can skate Mars and Earth. Like the ultimate diversity.
He's the one.
He's the one.
It's like skating Burton Street, but skating Mars and Earth.
Yeah, he would be on another level because he would be exercising his skills on multiple planets with multiple gravitational pulls. So he would understand this shit on a higher level than any of us meager like single planet dudes.
Yeah,
like he's multi-planetary. Super basic.
It's gonna be like, dude, you never skated on Mars? You gotta go. You gotta go. It's the best.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I like where this is going.
Foam pit in Mars would be good, but whatever. That's beside.
I want to. Oh, a foam pit anywhere on any planet would be good. Have you guys ever skated? You guys have skated foam pits, eh?
Yeah.
Have you never?
Never. I've never had the opportunity to skate a foam pit.
Foam pits are.
There's no foam pits here in Kamloops.
And you've like, I think we talked about this last time, but like, you know, you're not big on like the traveling to events, or you know, have you ever got like an inclination to see like a place like Woodward West and be like, I want to get there. I want to skate that, you know, resi pit. I want to skate the foam pit. It's obviously never been great enough to like, you know, get you to pull the trigger, but is that motivation there?
Yeah, I do think about going to some events. I think I mentioned on the last podcast that like in 2020, I was all gung-ho. I was going to do Bochi Pope and Blading Cup. And then the pandemic happened. And then swear to God, I was going to go to Blading Cup last year. And then the shit didn't even happen. I think God doesn't want me to go to a blading comp. I think like the plane will crash, or like something the event will get canceled, or there'll be like a world war, something. Like, I don't think the powers that be want me at a comp, but I will try to go to Blading Cup this year.
I feel like the longer it goes without you going to a comp, the more it adds to the allure of mushroom blading, you know?
Right. Like, are we even real? We might just be AI generated. Someone from the future, like, spit in, like, make a couple of interesting rollerblading dudes in their 40s that make videos, and we don't even exist. I'm just a computer program.
You're here to save blading from the future.
It's a simulation,
right?
Man.
I'm here to warn you of the dangers of AI. Don't do it, guys. It's a grim future.
But foam pits are like a night out, a Friday night out in your 40s. Like, it sounds like a good idea, and then you're in it and you're like, nah, this sucks. Take me out of here.
I hear you. Oh, I know. Like, I've done foam pits like without skates. Like, we have like a jump.
The gymnasium
facility.
Yeah.
And I hear like getting out of the foam pit is legitimately scary. Like, you feel like it's really hard to like get out of there, and you get like bits of foam in your eye, and like I know the realities of the foam pit for sure. What would be your first? Scary. You almost feel like you're gonna lodge yourself in the foam.
No, when you like the ones that have like the rope, you feel like I don't know. You feel like some like dude out of 300 like climbing out of the pit, like it's just like you feel like the strongest guy ever. Yeah, pulling yourself out of that, because it's like you're stuck. You're like, oh,
right.
It's all arms.
It's scary.
Yeah,
it's scary. A rope makes a lot of sense. I've never had a foam pit with a rope, but do you guys can you do backflips
and foam pits?
I'm like that kid. I'm like a kid at the skate park. Like, can you guys backflip? Can you?
I mean, on rollerblades or in general?
On rollerblades.
I've never backflipped on rollerblades. I've done like I've been like I was a big Misty person during that time.
Yeah, that's right.
When Misties were like, when they weren't Bio 540s, when they were like kind of like more front flip 180 type things in like the 90s. When I used to do like grommet, fakie to front flips on like vert ramps, like under the coping when I was like a grommet back at like Riverside Skate Park in like the mid 90s. But in any real way, have I done a flip? I would say no. If someone came up to me and said, can you do a backflip? Here is a purse of money for you. Here's $500. Here's $500. Do a backflip. I would do a backflip.
You would try for $500.
I'd find something to backflip for like $500. Yeah, sure.
Wow.
Austin, shell up. That's not much. This would make great content for the Patreon. Billy attempts a backflip for $500.
Yeah, so that's what we do with the next Patreon. It's Billy's backflip. Billy $500 backflip.
I feel like you're selling yourself short. Like, maybe like 5 G's.
Yeah, I feel like I would say at least a G. At least a G.
Yeah, I'll do it for a stack. But I mean, like, but I feel like
what's a stack? Is that
$1,000?
So you're talking to a Canadian.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I almost got like too comfortable. This is what happens. Like, I'm being in California, like I get very comfortable being in New York, and then someone reminds me how New York I am, and then my voice loses a bit of its accent every day that goes by, and more. But
can't use that New York lingo on
No,
me.
I just started
I'll do it for a
fading.
stack.
Yeah.
You sounded so cool when you said that.
Yeah, but no. But
But I was just unsure about the amount.
But I think Austin's done. I think Austin, like you had a video a while ago. First of all, Austin, I've never done a 900. The biggest spin I've ever done is 720, but Austin's done 900s, and I think you've done a front flip, right? You've done front.
I've never done a front flip. I've always been a back person, but I've never like successfully done a backflip on skates. Besides like a foam pit or a resi pad. I've done it once, like the real deal
Not
comes.
X-ramps back in the day, like X-ramps like onto the platform back in the day.
No, I don't think I've ever done.
We've done
like the back hand flip things, but like never like a straight back flip.
What about you, Todd?
I really no, I've never. and I've thought about this for years. I really want to do a backflip like on a quarter pipe. That seems so easy to me because you're already
right
like, halfway there. And I see all the roller skate girls do it, like Michelle Stylin, Estrogen, and they make it look so easy. I'm like, I could do that because I've got backflips like on trampolines really easily. I would love to try a backflip. I think 2024 is going to be the year of a backflip.
Wow,
that's a good goal.
I need to have some personal counsel from Estrogen. She seems like the backflip pro on a quarter pipe. I think she could guide me through the process.
Yeah, some guidance would be helpful. That was my goal last year, was to do a backflip on skates. I didn't do it, but I came really close to doing one, like pretty much like an invert, but like on a quarter pipe and just like flip it around, like pretty much what you're saying. It seems so easy, and I do it with a hand down piece of cake. I'm like, oh, I'll just lift my hand off it. Once I lifted my hand, I just back and just flat bottom pretty much. And I saved it, but it was wild and it scared the shit out of me to never do it again. But it's like so obtainable. It's right there.
Yeah.
I'm sure
The dude at the beginning of the show kicked himself in the head and did one. So I'm pretty. So that's like a joke for him. Like it's a piece of cake.
We should do more tricks kicking ourselves in the head. But what other tricks? Machio, kick yourself in the head.
If you could make your nose bleed by kicking yourself in the face, like in the middle of an air. So like you kick yourself in the face and land and blood kind of sprays on the ground. That would be a dope trick.
And you're just like, yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be a different kind of contest right there.
Yeah, rollerblading needs more blood. That's why like UFC is so exciting because they get bloody. We need to get bloody.
I think we've actually gone through all of our topics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's one thing I want to bring up before we get into it. Are there questions for the Patreon, Austin?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Patreon went off again.
Okay, so let's touch on this. I don't know if we'll be able to get to any questions in the chat. But I was wondering, and I was thinking about this recently, and I think as a Canadian, you'd be able to understand this and possibly respect this and most likely agree. But I was talking about it with Bellino not too long ago about like the popularity of blading back in the 90s. And there was always like within the movies, there was always the connection with rollerblading like through hockey. You look at like the Mighty Ducks movies and they're playing hockey and they're like cool playing hockey. And then they're like, jumping over some launch ramp thing, even if it's just like a subtle aggressive thing, it's in there. And, you look at Airborne and there was a hockey element tied into it. And I think it's kind of like interesting when you think about it, because like I think one of the biggest critiques that rollerblading gets is that it's like either sometimes that it's easy or like it's soft. There was the term fruit booting that is connected to it, and it's kind of like people think of like dance rollerblading where you're going down the street and like swiveling around wearing spandex or something like that. So it's kind of looked like the soft thing. But if you look at like sports and like the big five sports or whatever, like football, basketball, all these things that at least the term we say in America, and hockey's looked at as one of like the toughest, most rough and tumble kind of sports. There's fighting. Like it's like the only sport outside of fighting where they allow fighting in the sport. Like the refs are just watching you fight. So it's like, it's so strange that both sides are wearing blades, and a lot of people who are from my era, like, Alex Brosco and these people or that time, came in playing hockey on blades and doing these things. I think you had that experience, and a lot of people in Canada did. And one thing is just like looked at as like super raw and tough, and the other thing is like looked at as kind of soft. But there's this like connection that kind of made it like acceptable or cool on like a mainstream level. I think because of that connection. Do you think the fact that we lost that connection with hockey in like how we present ourselves, that it's not benefiting us? And do you think that we should try to reconnect with our hockey association through aggressive? And do you think that helps us? What's your thought on that?
First off, that's a great observation. I've never really seen that, hockey is looked at as this tough guy thing, and then rollerblading is this pansy thing. That's really funny. But I have to note that I actually have never played hockey. I was never a hockey player growing up. I was a baseball player. Joey was a hockey player. But I do think you're absolutely right. I think an important part of growing skating is going to be to collaborate or get some like cross pollination or cross, like top athletes who do both, like collaboration with things like hockey, skiing, hockey and skiing for sure. Because rollerblades originally were designed as a cross-training tool for hockey players in the summer. And you're right, if you have like some hockey players that also rollerbladed, it's like, what's the word? Fuck, the word is, I'm just slipping my mind. But when something is, damn it. Anyway. It would make it legitimize. It would legitimize the activity. Because if you respect someone, a hockey player, and then they do something that you don't respect, you're like, oh, they do that? Oh, maybe it kind of changes your opinion on it. So it legitimizes it. And the same thing with skiing. Like, I've been doing a lot of skiing this year, and skiing is really big in Canada, in Kamloops. And the kids are going off, like they're killing it at the ski hills. And it's interesting because their movements are so similar to rollerblading. Like they're busting like 360s, 540s, 720s, flips. They're doing like gazelles, like going fakie and carving into forwards on their skis. And a lot of the movements, like you would think, oh, these kids should be rollerblading in the summer, but they're not. They're probably skateboarding in the summer. And it's baffling because it's like, why wouldn't you skate? Like if so if there was like a skiing brand that also made skates and promoted them as like off-season ski trainers, people would be like, oh yeah, sick, because it's a ski company. And same thing with hockey. I do think we're going to need some of that cross-pollination. That would be great for rollerblading to change people's perspectives.
I think that's when like blading was at like its like coolest and most accepted, like on terms of like the mainstream and the zeitgeist. It had that connection there, and I don't know, somewhere along the way, it's like you even see like different generations of rollerblading like representing different like attitudes, and I feel like a lot of people from my generation had that like more rough edge, and now that I feel like it's less associated with people who are playing hockey at all, that it has like a different kind of edge to it. And not saying that anything's better or worse, but it's just like that cross pollination that like is so important to the cross marketing that like other subcultures have been able to successfully do. That instead of us like attaching to those things, like finding our own. And I think hockey's like a really cool thing. I don't know. I'm like, again,
and there is a certain level of cross pollination. Like there's a hockey store in Kamloops called Players Bench, and they deal like hockey skates, hockey sticks, all the equipment, and they carry inline. They carry like inline wheels and things. So there is a little bit of cross pollination that's still there, but it's on a very small scale. Like it's pretty rare that hockey players go out rollerblading in the summer, but it exists.
What do you think about like instead of like or as a side addition onto like a blading cup, like the big skate companies get like their top best 5 guys or 6 guys and get out there and get like hockey games, like them skates
roller
versus like roller hockey games. Then skates and Mesmer could like get a game going, or like
that's an idea.
Rollerblade and
you could have
USD
a tournament. You could have a tournament of all the teams, them versus
hockey.
Mesmer versus USD, all the skate brands, roller hockey tournament.
I mean, ultimately, it's
That
like
would
about
be
entertainment,
sick.
right? Yeah,
Right.
and like
That would be
I think
sick.
the entertainment value, and you would get like different sides of like getting to know like the other people, and it could be like a cool side event. I think like that kind of creativity would be like helpful in skating on like in the mainstream efforts these days.
But if you do that, you got to let Canada have a team. Like I want to be on a team with
For
Stu,
sure.
Danny, Leon, and Joey.
That's almost not fair though.
That'd be the winning team.
We're gonna fuck you up. All right.
The only person we got is Alex, pretty much.
In a whole country.
Yeah.
We got the size. You got to allow body checks. This is full contact.
I mean, we would have to get Derek Henderson.
Derek. Yeah, I was gonna say Derek. Yeah.
Oh no. I'm not
He's our
playing.
enforcer.
Yeah, I'm not playing. He'll keep everyone in line.
Isn't a lot of, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't like a few wizard skating moves based off skiing movements too, or skiing maneuvers of some sort?
Good question.
Like you just said that they were like doing like gazelles and stuff. Like it was
Yeah.
that originally a skiing move? And I know you could do those like kind of bunny hop thingies with the long frames. That was described to me as like a skiing move originally.
Yeah. It's hard. I'm not sure which came first because I'm not super familiar with skiing culture, but it's a pretty obvious movement in both activities. And the way that I've thought about gazelles has changed in recent years. Like you don't really do a gazelle. Like a gazelle happens naturally just from carving fakie and following that line of momentum, like not stopping yourself. You're naturally going to go into forwards. So like, I don't even think that you do a gazelle. Like a gazelle does you.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can that be the next
Yeah.
like wizard skating
I thought
shirt?
gazelle. Yeah. I think like the best gazelle, like a natural, like you don't consciously move forward. You just go fakie in a way that you naturally go forward. You have no choice.
Ooh.
And I think it's similar in skiing, like when skiers are going fakie and they kind of carve, they just naturally go to forwards.
Yeah, that makes
Nice.
sense too. We have
We're gonna get.
we have
We have a
questions
ton of
here.
questions. We're going to get into these
Okay.
questions real quick. Before we do, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
You know, you're keeping healthy, you take care of business, you have a family, you work hard. What is, you think, your worst vice?
My worst vice, I probably coffee. I'm addicted to coffee, and my phone. I'm addicted to my phone. That's pretty much it. I'm a pretty boring human. Yeah, I don't drink. I don't really do drugs anymore.
What about sweets? Bad food?
Cake. I love cake. Like I love like
We
birthday
all-
cake. Like
we all love
I'll go to
cake.
kids' birthdays and like I'm eyeing up that cake. I'm like, oh. I've been at kids' birthdays and I've just like gone.
You do have
nuts on
kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure before you.
But I'll roll into birthday parties. They're not even invited to. I'm just like, yeah, that's my kid over there. Pass me a piece.
What kind of cake is your favorite?
Any cake, like the icing and the. Yeah, I don't discriminate. Any cake, chocolate, vanilla. Yeah, I like the baked goods. I really like baked goods.
Nice.
I'm not
Same.
I'm
Good
not
choice.
super strict with my diet, to be honest. Like I indulge. I eat a lot of junk.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not strict.
Word.
Billy's
Just
a bun
curious.
cake guy.
I'm big
But I
on cakes
don't.
myself.
Here's one thing I don't do. Okay. And here's one thing I can't accept if my friends do either. So it's not cool. I don't drink pop.
At all?
And if any of my
Yeah.
friends crack a pop, then you can lose my phone number. Okay? We're not friends anymore.
Were you like this growing up?
Don't drink pop.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. You can keep my phone number, and I'm just joking. We're still friends, but I'll slap it out of your hand. Like, don't drink pop.
No, it's
Soda?
really
No,
it's
don't
funny.
drink
It's been
soda.
years since I've had soda, but it's I think the last time was like when I just started, you know, when you start getting into eating as best as you can, you start realizing how much poison and crap is out there in the world, and it's like it actually becomes hard to eat because you're like, wow, there's so much actual poison out in the supermarket and everywhere. And soda is one of those things like I think I just like when I started looking at the nutrition labels on things, I just picked up a Coke and I looked at it, and the amount of sugar that's in a bottle is just like ridiculous. And I was just like, insane. Okay, there's never going to be a time when I have that again. And so, yeah, that's kind of it.
And it's addictive. And like, I'm not strict at all with my kids with their diets. Like, not at all. Like, I feed them crap all the time, but I do not bring pop into the house. That's like that's my one line that I won't cross.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
That's a good one too. That's how I grew up too, and I was.
But I'll feed them Kraft dinner and Doritos and whatever. Like, it's not like I'm like crazy about it, but pop.
Yeah,
no pop.
Yeah, it's a good line.
I have one more super quick question before we get into this questions, and we had to pick a winner for our giveaway still. My question to you, Todd McInerney, is what do you call Canadian geese? Do you just call them geese? Or do you call them Canadian geese? You just call them geese?
Just call them geese.
Okay.
Geese, yeah. Geese, plural, and then singular is goose.
Just regular geese. And
he
goose.
Just asked. I'm sorry. Geese. Did you just ask what a goose plural was?
No, I asked him what he calls Canadian geese. Do they call Canadian geese geese, or do they actually call them Canadian geese?
It's a really funny word, geese.
All right, we just tickled the soft spot in Todd right here.
I like that.
Cake and geese, but
goose.
We have a lot to get to.
You look like a goose.
Stop looking at me, Schwan. We have a lot to get to still. We have Patreon questions. We have some questions in the chat, and we have to pick a winner for this giveaway. So, for everybody who entered, let me get this, switch this up. Where are we going? Screen share. Here we go. So, we have everybody's name here. We have 700 of you who entered this giveaway with Create Originals to win a pair of the Reflectio Sean Kelso Create Original frames. Thank you all for participating in it. We're about to spin the wheel right now to pick a winner. Who's going to be the lucky winner?
Who's that one purple line?
I don't know. Moro Muniz. Of course it's the name I can't say. Of course it's the name. Moro, thank you so much for entering our giveaway, and congrats to you. We'll reach out to you to get you your frames, and to everybody else. Or like I said, we're going to shout out also on like social media the 30 people who got a perfect 10 out of 10. Thank you to Create Originals for joining us for this giveaway. We appreciate you. Appreciate you sponsoring the show before. And yeah, this is awesome. Hopefully we get to do more giveaways like this in the future. And with that being said, we're going to move on to our Patreon questions. We had a lot of people on Patreon have some good questions for you, Todd. You ready for these?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. First one, this is so good. This was from Tree. You might have heard of him.
Tree.
He asks, what do you think the rollerblading industry would have been like if grinding never became popular?
Wow, great question. That's very similar to the question, what do you think rollerblading would look like if skateboarding didn't exist?
Whoa, I never thought of that one.
If grinding, it would be pretty sad if grinding didn't exist, but if it didn't exist, then we would just develop more in our aerial moves, flat ground moves. It would be very fluid. It's an interesting thought. It would be really fast and people would just be extremely good at rolling. Would they be better at that stuff? We would be better at that stuff because we're extremely focused on grinding. Like, we have a serious grinding fetish. We would be more creative. We would utilize our environments, I think, in better ways. Because I think oftentimes you get to a session or something, and if there's like a perfect grind box, like picture like a street spot, and there's just like a really nice P-rail or grind box, like most people, they're just going to like zero in on that grind box and just all their focus is going to be on that, and they're going to neglect everything else. So we would be a lot more diverse. Yeah, if grinding didn't exist, we would utilize weird things more efficiently.
What would a skate park look like?
Similar to how it looks now, just minus the like coping edges.
Yeah, no coping, no boxes, no rails, but still transitions.
Yeah, we would still have quarter pipes, because quarter pipes are like, like we think of them as waves. They came from surfing. We would have launch boxes. We would have ramps, banks. We might develop skate park terrain in a more exciting way, because it wouldn't be so grind heavy, because everything is so grind focused. We would have more interesting things to roll on, more like almost like obstacle course style terrain. It's like you look at like mountain biking, what are those parks called that they have where they like roll on the skinny thing, and
The wood.
it might look
the wooden
might look
slats.
more, it might look more like that. Like we would probably focus on like rolling really skinny things. Like we would get really good at that. Whereas like that's a pretty rare skill, is rolling on thin ledges, but we would probably be really good at that. Like if grinding didn't exist, we would find like really skinny things and roll on them in different ways. Fakie forwards, one wheel. Like we would just own that shit. Like the best, like the Alex Broskow of this like dimension would, wow, they'd be onto some shit. Like some serious rolling precision.
Yeah, Tree nailed it with that question.
I like that direction.
Really, it really made me think about it too. And I was like, I can't even.
It's a
imagine
great question.
Yeah,
it's a great question, and it'd be fun. Like you can pretend like grinding doesn't exist. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, you could do that exercise. Take your sole plates off your skates. Hit the
But it's
pause.
hard. It's hard because grinding is so fun. You know?
Yeah, I think we would have got there, even without the influence of skateboarding. I think blading would have got there naturally, just because like the phase nature of like exploring ideas would have just kind of like, once the first grind happens, then like everything would have been explored, just like how like whatever the swivels or everything gets explored, and the wizard skating, and it just would have came at different times and in different priorities. Yep. But I think it would have gotten there for sure at some point. But
yeah,
there'd be more full.
It might look a lot different.
It might look different too, but yeah. But it's only so much you can do on the blades, you know. So I think that it would
eventually
kind of
get there.
Force itself there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question.
I think yeah. It's an interesting thought.
It definitely is. Our next Patreon question comes from Max Fervor, who says, Todd and Joey's skate videos have always had kind of a fun energy and weirdness that felt psychedelic even before the label mushroom blading was applied. How have experiences with psychedelics influenced the way you relate to skating? If so, how?
Maybe. That's a hard question to ask. Or it's a hard question to answer. Did my psychedelic use like help? Maybe. Yeah, maybe it opened up my perception to different possibilities. I remember, no, that's not really a psychedelic story. I don't know. I'm hesitant to give it too much credit, because I think we could have gotten here without the use of any substances. I think people rely too heavily on psychedelics for creative energy, when I think that it is possible to get to those places without anything. In fact, I think we would have been more productive if we didn't like go through our party phase. Like if we didn't use so much alcohol, and like I've had a lot of like sessions that were ruined because of drug use and alcohol, like feeling crappy. I think we probably could have accomplished more if we were just really focused and sober. Again, maybe I sound like the old guy. You can do it without drugs and alcohol.
I was about to say,
but maybe it did help. I don't know.
I was about to say, I hate to be devil's advocate, but especially in like something where you're like communicating a positive message, and I agree. I also agree with you. I think that the thing that people think psychedelic experiences do provide can be found outside of that. It just tends to be like a cheat code almost to get. It's almost like an unearned. Like sometimes the psychedelic experience can be like an unearned path, but you could find that same experience in other ways. In my opinion, but do you think that there was any value to your party phase that like contributed to any of the MB videos that came out like in a positive way? Do you think it was all not productive? I hate to ask it too. I hate to ask that. Yeah.
No, I'm glad that you pushed me on that because, yeah, I think, again, it's hard to say for sure, but I think maybe some of the experiences on psilocybin, or marijuana kind of opened me up to like different possibilities in terms of skate tricks, in terms of like what a video could be. I know there was some early videos like Cirque du Soleil were heavily influenced by marijuana. And in my early days, being on drugs and watching skate videos really like, made me look at the activity in a different way. So I shouldn't be like totally down on on my experience with those things, but I do think that I could have used them less and gotten the same benefit out of them. I think it's like AI. You just got to be careful, and don't overdo it. Like, yeah, if I could go back in time, I would have quit drinking like decades ago. I don't think alcohol really gave anything to me in terms of like creativity, or it messed me up more than anything. The odd, psilocybin trip or marijuana use maybe gave me some inspiration, but you definitely don't need a lot of it. I don't know, maybe, and everyone's experience is different. Some people might smoke up all the time and just get so inspired on it, and it might work for them. I'm not gonna judge. I'm not gonna say like you shouldn't do that. For me personally, I know that I probably could have used a fraction of the drugs that I used and would have been better off for it.
I think that's right.
Good advice from mature Todd to young Todd right there.
Yeah.
We have one last question on Patreon from Same Boat, who says, "Hey Todd, I'm curious to know how you develop your artistic aesthetic, if you had any major influences, and what you remember about the process of developing the Mushroom Blading logo."
Yeah.
A side of you we haven't really spoken about, honestly, because you do the Mushroom Blading art, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome too.
Great question. Yeah, thanks for asking. And I'm very inspired by abstract art. I love abstract art. Like, I love Jackson Pollock. People clown on Jackson Pollock, but like he did something. He created a visual that had never been seen before, and there's such an energy in art like that, art that's abstract, that doesn't represent anything, that I find so exciting. Like how someone can just create like shapes and color that convey an emotion, and it doesn't look like a person or a bird or an object. It's just like paint or ink on a canvas. Like, that's badass to me. I love people's signatures. Like, I love how everybody has a unique mark that they make. People that say like, "Oh, I don't draw," but like they do this really cool mark that they've developed over time. And like, as you age, a lot of older people's signatures, like you can't even really see the letters anymore because it's been developed so much, and it's based out of like a muscle movement that this person has created. And it's like extremely interesting to me how everyone has this unique mark that they make. Like, signatures are so cool to me. So a lot of my art is like, I have to break this up into two categories. There's two experiences for me. There's one experience of art where I'm not trying to accomplish anything, and that is extremely pleasurable to me, just to like draw and just like let it go wherever it's going to go and get into a flow state. And then the experience of like making graphics and really trying to achieve something is like really painful for me and really anxiety provoking. It's not like fun and pleasurable, it's like hell. And I get ultra like obsessed on getting it right and perfecting it. I went through this recently. I was working on a wheel graphic, and it was like a week of like agonizing over this drawing, and I had to draw like 15 different versions of this thing to get to the place where like I was happy with it, and to where I felt like it was finished. Because every time I would draw it, there'd be like one element that was like, oh, that doesn't sit well with me, or it could be better, this could be this. And yeah, that is like not pleasurable. It's more work. It's more like painful. But there was another part to that question.
What do you remember about the process developing the mushroom blading logo?
Not much. That was so long ago that I made that. Like, I don't even really remember making it. That was before it was even a brand.
That was just for
fun? I wasn't even thinking of it as a logo. I think when I drew it, I think it was like just a drawing. And then like years later, it just felt appropriate for the logo. But yeah, that was so long ago that I drew that. And the original is actually a lot different than the logo that we use now. If you look at the logo, like the legs, if you look closely, it's just dots. It's like there used to be, on the original drawing, there was like pants that the dots sat in. So that was stripped away to be just like the dots, like they were like the polka dots of pants.
Oh yeah, I see it here now.
But it was just originally it was just a Sharpie drawing that's been scanned and like changed. But yeah, I don't even remember doing it.
No, it's awesome. That's a cool ass logo too. And
I was probably high on the weed.
Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Do we have any
Thanks, weed.
live chat questions, Billy?
Yeah, we'll just take one or two of these. One of them is pretty straightforward. It's asking about your kettlebell use and how you've seen that help your skating. Has it been helpful for your skating, and what kind of exercises do you do?
It's pretty much one routine that I've been doing for like 5 years with the kettlebells. If you search kettlebell workout Ryan, I think his name's Ryan Shanahan. It's him on the beach. It's an old video, but it's just kind of the perfect length. And I like to do it because like I don't have to think about the moves. It's like I've done it so many times that it's all really natural to me. The thing I like about kettlebells is it's like it requires coordination. It requires some coordination. Like there's a move where I'm like squatted down and I'm kind of putting the kettlebell like between my legs, almost like dribbling a basketball, but like passing it to the different hands. And it's like, it's not like a mindless, like sitting on a treadmill, working out. It's like, I really have to put thought into it, and it helps with my coordination. But kettlebells is more something I do for my mental health. Like, I don't think it really helps my skating. I mean, general fitness, of course, helps, but it really is just like an efficient way to blow off steam and like get energy out, because I am susceptible to depression, and like fitness, like regular exercise helps me feel better. So I would say more so it's something that I do for my mental health than like for the skating benefits.
Definitely. I think someone who can be susceptible to depression too, I think like working out and being active is like one of the best approaches to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we'll take this last one. Tim Haynes says, can you ask Todd what his favorite edit or section of the past year was? I'm going to guess maybe Brain God, but go ahead.
I also really liked the, what was the roller skating? Fast Forward. I loved Fast Forward.
Fast Forward was the Lazo video?
Yes, Lazo Party. The roller skaters.
Yeah, they did a good job on that. I really liked. Michelle blew my mind. Her section was awesome.
Yeah, the filming, the editing, the music. I loved the fact that it was like kind of like rollerblading but different. And the fact that it was all girls was extremely refreshing to me. That was the first video I had seen with like mostly girls, and um, I loved it. Very unique experience to see girls doing that stuff. So yeah, that was definitely my favorite from this year. I also really enjoyed Big Budget, which Tree was in. Mm-hmm. I think Ryan Benner, I think is his name, made it. It was a fun video. It was like funny. They incorporated like really funny humor into it. Of course, Tree's skating is unreal. I really enjoyed that. Honestly, I didn't enjoy a lot this year.
You said it was it one of the most boring years? What did you call it?
I thought it was a pretty boring year. I thought it was the tail end of an exciting era. But I think rollerblading is looking for the next chapter.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what that chapter is about. Billy, should we do one last super chat real quick?
Yeah. I like how he waited till the very last second.
Peter Toth
it's
says,
his first super chat.
Any collabs planned in 2024 you can talk about?
Just this one, collabing with Jump Street Podcast. Yeah.
That's the collab of the year right here. We knocked it out the park. They're going to be talking about December. What was collab of the year? Collab of the year. And it happened already, January.
Exactly.
Turn your TV sets off, everyone.
Todd, how like sometimes you invite someone over for dinner, you make them dinner, and then you just and they enjoy it, and you're like, thank you, I got to make dinner for you,
Yeah.
Did we just make dinner?
No, this is the second time we've invited you over for dinner. And we've also had Joe McGarry over for dinner. So I think the next meal we'll see you at your house.
Oh,
definitely. That's funny. Originally, I messaged Austin. I didn't say we could do Jump Street. I said I'd love to chat with you guys.
Oh,
you guys are definitely
I took
welcome.
that completely wrong then.
I mean, I was down either way, really. I didn't really care. But yeah, I'd definitely like to host you guys. Have you guys over for dinner.
That'd be cool.
That would be super fun. Yeah.
Let's do it. Second collab of the year.
Definitely.
They're not ready for us. They ain't ready. Wow, this has been awesome. Todd, you're the man. Thank you so much. This has been a great time having you on. Chat went crazy. Patreon went crazy. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we let you go?
I actually wanted to dedicate this podcast to my sister, who passed away like 10 years ago. She was born with Down syndrome, and she was born with a couple holes in her heart. She couldn't walk 10 steps without being out of breath. Just the most beautiful person that I've ever known. And she taught me probably the most important lesson in my life, and that's gratitude. It was hard not to be grateful. Seeing someone like that was born the way she was born, of no choice of her own. And me, I was born, I didn't choose to be me. I just was given, all the opportunity in the world to be physically active and to enjoy these things that I love to do. And it's probably the reason why I'm so hell-bent on taking full advantage of my physical abilities, is because that was so blatant to me. And I just want to say I love you, Bobby Joe, and you're always in my thoughts. And just thank you for being such a teacher to me and being such a beautiful person.
Bobby Joe, this is for you.
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Being on this show was so much fun. I could talk to you guys for hours.
And we will have you on again to do that.
Yeah.
Just so.
Let's do it.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
And you guys come over to my house next time.
We're excited for it. Do we got to take my shoes off at your house? I don't wear pants when I do this podcast. Do I got to wear pants on your podcast?
Shoes on.
Shoes on. Fuck. Shoes
We gotta
on.
hang
Pants
out
off.
in the garage. My wife doesn't let guests.
Shoes on, pants off. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you everybody for watching. We got a killer episode planned for next week too, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to check out the new merch in the jumpstreetpodcast.com/store. And yeah, thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Todd, you the man. We'll see you later.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Much love, brother.